The wedding cake exploded at exactly 11:47 p.m., which was inconsiderate timing considering I was halfway through my second slice. Down! I tackled Samira to the floor as buttercream and shrapnel rained over the hotel ballroom. Around us, what had been Seoul's most elegant wedding reception 30 seconds ago transformed into a war zone. Screaming guests. Overturned tables. And my second-in-command Minj, calmly shooting the waiter who delivered the explosive dessert. "Baby," Samira gasped from underneath me, her red dress now decorated with frosting and possibly blood, I couldn't tell whose. "Is this normal? For us?" "Increasingly yes. 3 weeks. We've been officially together for 3 weeks since I divorced my wife and chose the Mistress. 3 weeks of supposed freedom, supposed happiness, and apparently, explosive baked goods. Welcome to love in the criminal underworld." I rolled off Samira, gun already in hand, scanning for additional threats. The ballroom was chaos, 300 wedding guests in various states of panic, my security team converging on exits, and the bride, my business associate's daughter, screaming in her now ruined Vera Wang. "How many?" I barked at Minj. "Just the one. Huang Brothers' signature work. Remote detonator, probably watching from," he pointed to the balcony where a figure was already rappelling down the side of the building. "There. Amateurs," I muttered, but my heart was still trying to break out of my ribcage. That bomb had been meant for our table. For Samira specifically. She sat up, picking cake out of her hair with surprising calm. "So. Assassination attempt number what?" "I've lost count." 17, Minj supplied helpfully. "Well, 18 now if you count the poison champagne last week." "I don't count that one. It was poorly executed." Samira stood, brushing off her dress like she'd just survived a minor inconvenience instead of an explosion. "But I draw the line at weaponized desserts. I actually liked that cake. This was why I'd burned my entire empire down for her." While everyone else panicked, she was annoyed about the cake. "We need to leave," I said, already pulling her toward the service exit. "Now. What about the bride? We'll have an excellent story for her grandchildren. Move." We made it exactly 15 feet before my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. "Call Murayak." The voice was female, cold, familiar. "You've been dodging my calls." My blood turned to ice. "Jia." Beside me, Samira stopped walking. Minj's hand went to his weapon. "Your ex-wife is calling you," Samira said slowly, "during our current active shooter situation." "Hello, Miss Blackwell," Jia's voice came through crystal clear, undoubtedly having heard every word. "I see you're having another exciting evening. The Huang brothers really are persistent, aren't they?" "How did you?" I started. "Because I'm the one who warned them you'd be at this wedding." A pause. "And I'm the one who told them to miss." The world tilted. "Explain." "Now." "Can't. Not over the phone. But I suggest you get your girlfriend somewhere safe and meet me in an hour. The tea house in Buckshan." Her voice hardened. "Because the Huang brothers were just the opening act, Murayak. My father's planning something much worse, and even I can't stop it." "Not alone." The line went dead. I stared at my phone, then at Samira, who was watching me with those dark knowing eyes. "Your ex-wife just confessed to tonight's attack," she said calmly. "And now wants to meet. I'm guessing this is not standard post-divorce etiquette." She said she made them miss. How thoughtful. Should I send a thank you card or a pipe bomb? Despite everything, the explosion, the chaos, the absolute insanity of my life, I almost laughed. "We need to go," Minj urged. "Whatever family drama this is, we can't do it in a building that just got bombed." He was right. But as I pulled Samira toward the exit, through the smoke and sirens and screaming, I couldn't shake the feeling that the real explosion was still coming. Because my ex-wife never did anything without a reason. And if she was scared enough to ask for help, we were all in more danger than I'd thought. The tea house was exactly the kind of place Jia would choose. All minimalist elegance and uncomfortable kneeling cushions designed to make everyone equally miserable. She was already there when I arrived, wearing cream-colored silk and an expression that suggested she'd been practicing her "I'm better than you" face in the mirror. Murayak. She didn't stand. Just gestured to the cushion across from her like a queen granting an audience. "You look terrible. You look furious." "I am furious." She poured tea with hands that didn't shake. "But not at you." Surprisingly. I sat, every instinct screaming this was a setup. "Then why am I here?" "Because my father is planning to kill your mistress in approximately 72 hours, and I thought you might want to know." The world tilted slightly. "Why are you telling me this?" Jia's smile was sharp as broken glass. "Because despite everything, I don't actually want her dead. She's irritating and American and has terrible taste in furniture, but she saved my life. Sort of. In the panic room. She didn't. She distracted the operative long enough for me to get the blade positioned." Jia sipped her tea. "Close enough. The point is, I owe her. And I pay my debts." She slid a folder across the table. "My father hired the Huang brothers. Contract killers, very expensive, absolutely no conscience. They're planning to hit her lounge during Friday's rush. Maximum casualties, maximum message." I opened the folder. Photos, timelines, entry points. Everything I needed. "Why help us?" "Because my father is using this as an excuse to restart the clan wars. He wants chaos so he can consolidate power." She met my eyes. "And because you were right. The marriage was a cage for both of us. I don't love you, Murayak. I don't think I ever did. But I don't hate you either." She stood, smoothing her dress. "Also, your mistress has excellent taste in bourbon. I stole a bottle from your collection during the divorce. We bonded." "You and Samira, bonded? Don't sound so shocked. We're both women who've had to survive you." Her smile was almost warm. "Handle the Huang brothers. I'll deal with my father." "And Murayak?" "Yes. Try not to get her killed. It would be terribly wasteful after all this drama." She left, jasmine perfume fading, and I sat there holding a folder from my ex-wife containing information to save my current girlfriend's life. My life had become a Korean drama written by someone on heavy drugs. "Your ex-wife is helping us." Samira stared at the folder like it might explode. "The woman who called me a complication is now, what? Our ally. Apparently you bonded over bourbon. We had one conversation. She told me my taste in men was questionable and my lounge needed better security. Then she stole your 30-year-old Pappy Van Winkle. That explains why the bottle was empty." Samira paced the living room, still in her work clothes, black pants, silk blouse, heels that clicked against marble like gunshots. "This is insane. We can't trust her. The intel is solid. I had Minj verify it. The Huang brothers are real, the contract is real, and the timeline matches. So what do we do?" I looked at the woman I'd burned my entire empire for. The woman currently stress-pacing while wearing one shoe because she'd thrown the other at the wall when I told her about the hit. "We set a trap. Use the lounge as bait, catch them in the act, and send a message that trying to kill you will be the last mistake anyone makes." She stopped pacing. "You want to use my business as a killing floor. I want to protect you. By turning my lounge into a war zone. By ending this before it escalates." I crossed to her, caught her hands. "Samira, your father won't stop with one attempt. Neither will Kuroda. Neither will any of the families who see you as my weakness. We need to make an example. She pulled away, grabbed her remaining shoe, threw it at the wall to join its partner. I hate that you're right. I know. I hate that this is my life now. I know. I hate that I'm still going to say yes because I love you and I'm an idiot. I pulled her close, breathed in bourbon and vanilla and home. The best kind of idiot. Shut up and tell me the plan. The plan was elegant, simple, and had approximately 17 ways to go catastrophically wrong. Friday night, the lounge would operate normally. Full staff, full crowd, full security, with Minj's best operatives mixed in as bartenders, waiters, and very well-armed patrons. The Huang brothers would walk into what they thought was a soft target. Instead, they'd walk into a kill box. I don't like you being here, I said for the 15th time, watching Samira adjust her dress in the mirror of her office. Red, because apparently, she had a death wish and wanted to look good for it. It's my lounge. Where else would I be? Safe. Somewhere far from here. She turned, crossed to me, put her hands on my chest. Murayak, we've had this argument. I'm not hiding while other people fight my battles. Either I'm in this with you, all of it, or what's the point? The point is keeping you alive. The point is living, not just surviving. She kissed me, soft and certain. Now stop being overprotective and go coordinate with Minj. I have a business to run. Stubborn, reckless, absolutely perfect woman. The Huang brothers arrived at 10:47 p.m., exactly when the intel said they would. They were good. Professional. They split up immediately, one heading for the main floor, one circling toward the back entrance. Both armed, both moving with the kind of efficiency that meant they'd done this before. They made it exactly 12 feet before Minj's team converged. The one on the main floor went down hard, tackled by 3 waiters who were significantly more muscular than food service typically required. The second tried to run, made it to the kitchen, and found himself facing a very angry sous chef with a very large cleaver. Turns out Samira's kitchen staff were all ex-military. She had a type when hiring. I watched from the security office as they were dragged, zip-tied and furious, into the storage room. Samira stood beside me, arms crossed, face unreadable. That was almost disappointing, she said. I expected more of a fight. They were expecting civilians, not a tactical team disguised as hospitality workers. Still. All this build-up for 12 feet of competence. She glanced at me. What now? Now I ask them who sent them. Confirm Jia's intel. And then. I trailed off. And then you kill them. It wasn't a question. Yes. She was quiet for a moment. Then, I'll leave you to it. I have customers who are probably wondering why the waiters just tackled someone. Samira. I know what you are, Murayak. I've always known. She looked at me, eyes clear and steady. Do what you need to do. Just, wash your hands before you come back upstairs. She left, heels clicking, and I was reminded again why I'd chosen her. She saw the monster and loved me anyway. The Huang brothers were professionals, which meant they didn't crack easily. The older one, Ji-hoon, according to his ID, just stared at me with dead eyes while I explained exactly what was going to happen to him. The Kwan family hired us, he said finally. Standard contract. High-profile target, public execution, send a message. What message? That Kong Murayak's protection means nothing. That anyone he loves is fair game. He smiled, bloody teeth. They're going to keep coming, you know. Kill us, and they'll send more. This doesn't end until one of you is dead. I know. I put a bullet between his eyes. The younger one, Min Jun, was less stoic. He started talking immediately, confirming everything Jia had said and adding details I didn't want to hear. There are 3 more contracts, he babbled. 3 more teams. The Kwan family wants her dead within the month. They don't care about collateral damage. They just want her gone. Names. He gave them up. All 3 teams, their handlers, their timelines. I put a bullet in him too. Mercy, in my world, looked like making it quick. I found Samira on the lounge's back balcony, smoking a cigarette she'd borrowed from one of the bartenders. She didn't smoke. Not usually. It's done, she asked without turning. It's done. How many? 2. She took a drag, exhaled slowly. Will there be more? Yes. She finally looked at me. Eyes red but dry. How many more? 3 more teams. Maybe more after that. The Kwan family has deep pockets and a long memory. So this is forever. Running, fighting, looking over our shoulders. Yes. She stubbed out the cigarette. Okay. 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 She turned to face me fully. I meant what I said, Murayak. I'm in this. All of it. The good, the bad, and the apparently endless assassination attempts. She managed a smile. Though I'm going to need a raise to afford all this therapy I'll probably need. I pulled her close, felt her heart beating against mine. Strong, steady, alive. I'm sorry. Don't be. I chose you. Knowing exactly what it meant. She pulled back, looked up at me. But we need a better plan than just reacting. We need to end this. Really end it. I'm open to suggestions. We go to the source. Your ex-father-in-law. We negotiate, threaten, bribe, whatever it takes to make him call off the contracts. He won't. Then we make him. Her eyes were hard. You said it yourself, in your world, you need to make an example. So let's make one. Show everyone that coming after me means going to war with you. And that it's a war they'll lose. God, I loved her. That's a terrible plan. You have a better one? No. Then it's a terrible plan we're doing together. She kissed me, tasting like smoke and defiance. Now take me home. I need a shower and possibly several drinks. The lounge can run itself for one night. My very capable, very violent staff can handle things. She pulled me toward the door. Come on, baby. Let's go pretend we're normal people for a few hours. We both knew we'd never be normal. But we could pretend. At least until the next death threat arrived. The text arrived on Samira's phone at 9 a.m., which was obscene considering we'd only gotten 3 hours of sleep after the wedding cake incident. She stared at the screen, then showed it to me. Lunch. 1 p.m. Myeongdong. Just you and me. Don't bring the boyfriend. My razor clattered into the sink mid-shave. Absolutely not. She said don't bring you. Samira was already pulling on jeans, which meant she'd already made up her mind. Stubborn woman. Which is exactly why I'm coming. I appeared in the doorway, half my face still covered in shaving cream. This is a setup. Probably. She kissed me, tasting like morning coffee and terrible decisions. But I'm curious what she wants. Besides, she saved our lives last night. Sort of. In her weird manipulative way. Samira. Baby. If your Ice Queen ex-wife wanted me dead, I'd already be dead. You said so yourself. I hated when she used my logic against me. Fine. But I'm following you. I know. It's one of your most predictable qualities. 2 hours later, I was sitting in a black car with tinted windows outside a restaurant so expensive they didn't have prices on the menu, watching through long-range surveillance as my ex-wife and current girlfriend had lunch together. This was my life now. Spy equipment pointed at the two women who'd completely destroyed any semblance of control I had over anything. "Boss," Minj said from the driver's seat, "you know she's going to know you're out here." "I'm aware. And she's going to tell Samira." "Also aware. And they're probably laughing about you right now." I looked at him. "Are you trying to make this worse?" "Just preparing you for the inevitable, sir." Through the camera feed on my phone, courtesy of the bug I'd planted on Samira's purse, which she definitely knew about and was definitely letting me keep, I watched Jia lean forward and say something that made Samira's eyes widen. Then Jia picked up a butter knife. "What the hell is she doing?" I muttered. Jia demonstrated something with the knife. A grip, a strike position. Samira practiced it, awkward at first, then more confident. My ex-wife was teaching my girlfriend how to stab people. "Sir." Minj leaned over to look. "Is Mrs. Kong training Miss Blackwell?" "Apparently." "Should we be concerned?" "Minj, I stopped knowing what to be concerned about the day I brought my mistress home to meet my wife." I watched Samira laugh at something Jia said, watched my ex-wife's face soften in a way I'd never seen during our marriage. Now they're friends. I think. Or planning my murder together. Possibly both. Women are terrifying, sir. Yes. Yes, they are. The lunch continued. More talking, more demonstrations. At one point, Jia pulled out what looked like a flash drive and slid it across the table. Samira picked it up, expression serious. My phone buzzed. Text from Samira. "Samira, stop spying and answer your phone when your ex-wife calls you. She has information." Before I could process that, my phone rang. "Jia. You're outside in the black Mercedes," she said without preamble. Very subtle. "What did you give her?" "Names. Evidence. A list of your senior lieutenants planning a coup." A pause. "You're welcome." My blood ran cold. "Which lieutenants?" "Park, Cho, Kim, Lee, and Sung. They think you've gone soft, that the American woman has made you weak. They're planning to move within the week." "How do you know this?" "Because my father told me." Proudly. "He's funding them." Her voice was ice. "He wants chaos, Murayak. Wants you destabilized so he can swoop in and take the territories we divided in the divorce." I closed my eyes. Of course. Of course Quan Sr. would use my own men against me. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because despite everything, I don't actually want you dead." She was quiet for a moment. "And because Samira asked me to teach her how to survive your world. That girl is tougher than she looks. She reminds me of who I wanted to be. Before duty killed it." Jia. "One more thing. I'm seeing someone. A lawyer. Daniel Park. He's good, kind, believes in justice." A soft laugh. "Everything you're not. He has no idea who I really am." "Are you happy?" The question surprised us both. "I'm trying to be," she said finally. "For the first time in my life, I'm trying." A pause. "Take care of her, Murayak. And take care of yourself. The coup is real. Don't let your guard down just because you're in love." She hung up. I stared at the phone, then at the restaurant where Samira was settling the bill, looking completely unruffled by the fact that she'd just had lunch with my ex-wife and received intelligence about an internal assassination plot. She walked out, spotted the car immediately, and climbed in the back seat. "So," she said cheerfully. "Your ex-wife is lovely, taught me knife techniques, gave me blackmail material on your inner circle, and told me she's dating a human rights lawyer who thinks she's a businesswoman." She held up the flash drive. "Also, 5 of your guys want you dead. Friday at the latest." Minj whistled low. "That's one hell of a lunch. Did you know?" I asked Samira. About the coup. Not until she told me. But it makes sense. She squeezed my hand. Some of your men have been looking at me like I'm a disease. I just thought they were being misogynistic. Turns out they're being treasonous. This isn't a joke. I know. Her smile faded. But we have a week to prepare, and thanks to Jia, we know exactly who to watch. That's more than we usually get. She was right. God help me, she was right. What else did she tell you? That loving you is dangerous, that I'll need to learn to fight, and that white wine goes better with treason than red. She grinned. Also, she stole that expensive bourbon from your collection and we bonded over how you snore. I don't snore. You absolutely snore. Minj, do I snore? Sir, I'm not getting involved in this. Samira laughed, kissed me, and settled into my side like we weren't discussing assassination plots and ex-wife alliances. Take me home, she said. We have a coup to plan for, and I need to practice my knife grip. As Minj drove us back through Seoul traffic, I realized something unsettling. My ex-wife and current girlfriend were now allies. They'd bonded over my flaws and exchanged combat techniques. And somehow, impossibly, that made me feel safer than any security detail ever could. I was either the luckiest man alive or the most doomed. Probably both. The dinner was supposed to be a celebration. New territory acquired, rivals neutralized, champagne that cost more than most people's yearly salary. Instead, it turned into the night I watched my girlfriend stab a man and then throw up in a decorative plant. Romance in the criminal underworld, ladies and gentlemen. To loyalty, Senior Lieutenant Park raised his glass with a smile that set every instinct I had on fire. And to leaders who remember where their priorities should lie. I'd known Park for 7 years. Watched him rise through the ranks. Trusted him with operations that could have buried me. And now, thanks to Jia's flash drive, I knew he was about to try to bury me literally. Samira's hand found mine under the table. 3 squeezes. Our code 4, I see it too. Interesting toast, I said, keeping my voice level. Almost sounds like a threat. Does it? Park's smile widened. Around us, 4 other lieutenants shifted. Synchronized. Planned. My apologies, sir. I meant leaders who put their organization before their personal entanglements. Samira tensed beside me. Samira, I said quietly. Leave. Now. No. This isn't negotiable. Still no. She gripped her steak knife the way Jia had apparently taught her, low, hidden, ready. Christ, my ex-wife had created a monster. We're having such a nice dinner. Park laughed, the sound like nails on a chalkboard. The American whore has teeth. How charming. Tell me, Kong, does she know how many good men died because you were too busy between her legs to notice your empire crumbling? I moved fast. But Park was faster. Gun out, aimed at my chest, finger on the trigger. Then Samira did something I would replay in my mind for years. She drove her steak knife straight through Park's gun hand. He screamed. The gun clattered. And suddenly the private dining room of Seoul's finest restaurant became a battlefield set to Vivaldi and the smell of Bordeaux. You stabbed me. Park stared at his hand in genuine shock. I know. Samira looked equally surprised. This is harder than it looks. I flipped the table, champagne, china, and several $1,000s of dinner went flying, and pulled her behind me as Minj and my loyal guards opened fire on the traitors. Glass shattered. Someone screamed. A bullet took out the chandelier. When I said learn to protect yourself, I shouted over the gunfire, I meant defensively. You're welcome for saving your life. We're having a serious conversation about boundaries later. You're literally being shot at right now. Park lunged at us, wounded hand and all, pulling a backup piece. I shot him 3 times. Center mass. Professional. Final. He hit the floor, blood spreading across expensive carpet, still looking confused that the boss he tried to overthrow actually had the balls to pull the trigger. Anyone else? I asked the room, gun steady, voice colder than I'd felt in years. Anyone else think I've gone soft? Think loving her makes me weak? Silence. Just breathing and classical music still playing from undamaged speakers. Lieutenant Cho tried to run. Made it 4 steps before Minj put him down. The remaining 3 traitors dropped their weapons, hands up, faces pale. Sir, Lieutenant Kim stammered. We didn't, Park said. You raised a gun in my direction, I said quietly. There's no explanation that makes that survivable. I shot all 3 of them. Minj handled the bodies. I handled Samira, who was staring at her blood-covered hands like they belonged to someone else. I stabbed someone, she whispered. You saved my life. I stabbed a man. Her voice cracked. I didn't think, I just saw him pointing the gun at you and I. She turned and threw up in the decorative plant in the corner. First kill is always rough, Minj said sympathetically, stepping over Cho's corpse. But excellent technique, Miss Blackwell. Very precise strike. Not helping, MNJ. I pulled Samira away from the plant, away from the bodies, into my arms. She was shaking, her whole body trembling like a leaf. Breathe, baby. Just breathe. I killed someone. Technically, I killed Park. You just disarmed him very enthusiastically. Murayak. I know. I'm terrible at comfort. I held her tighter. But you were perfect. Terrifying and perfect, and I've never been more in love with you. I threw up in a plant. A very expensive plant. I'm weirdly proud. She laughed. Or cried. Maybe both. Her face was buried in my chest, and I could feel tears soaking through my shirt. Sir, Minj interrupted gently. Police in 8 minutes. We need to move. I nodded, already shifting into crisis mode. Clean it. Standard protocol. I'll cover damages. And tomorrow's meeting? The organization will want answers. I'll give them answers. I looked at the bodies, at the wreckage of my inner circle. They'll understand what happens to traitors. Boss. Minj's voice was serious. This was only 5. There might be more. I know. I guided Samira toward the exit. But tonight, I need to make sure she doesn't fall apart. Too late, Samira managed. Already there. In the car, wrapped in my jacket because hers was ruined, she finally looked at me. Will there be more? More betrayals? I could have lied. Should have lied. But I'd promised her honesty. Probably. I've changed the rules. Some men can't accept that. Because of me. Because I chose to be human instead of just being a boss. I kissed her temple. And I'd make the same choice every single time. Even though I stabbed someone and threw up. Especially because of that. I smiled despite everything. You're perfect, Samira. Absolutely, violently perfect. Her phone buzzed. She checked it, then showed me. JIA, heard about dinner. Nice knife work. The butter knife technique really does transfer well. You're welcome. J. I stared at the message, then laughed. Actually laughed. My ex-wife is texting you combat congratulations. Your ex-wife is terrifying. So are you now. I pulled her closer. Welcome to the business, baby. You're officially one of us. I want a raise. Anything. And therapy. So much therapy. Done. And maybe we should send Ja some of that bourbon. As a thank you. I looked at this woman, covered in blood, traumatized, making jokes about bourbon, and felt something crack open in my chest. "I love you," I said. "I love you too." She kissed me, tasting like wine and violence and home. "Even though your business dinners are absolutely terrible. Next time, pizza. Next time, I'm bringing my own knife." Outside, Seoul glittered. Enemies were plotting. Wars were brewing. But in that car, covered in blood and expensive wine, Samira had crossed a line she could never uncross. She'd killed for me. And somehow, impossibly, that made me love her even more. Even if it meant buying a new decorative plant. I've stared down Yakuza assassins, negotiated with terrorists, and once watched a man get fed to pigs without flinching. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for Samira's father cleaning his marine-issued sidearm on my dining room table while asking about my intentions. "So," Robert Blackwell said, not looking up from the weapon he was methodically disassembling. "You're the crime lord." "Dad," Samira started. "I prefer businessman," I said carefully. "I prefer accurate." He finally looked at me. Steel-gray eyes that had seen combat, seen death, seen things that made him very hard to intimidate. "My daughter's been in the news. American woman connected to Korean organized crime. Her mother had a spell. A spell turned out to be Southern Code 4, needed anxiety medication and Jesus. Said mother, Patricia Blackwell, was currently rearranging my kitchen with the determination of a woman on a holy mission, rejecting every piece of cookware as inadequate for proper biscuits. Sweetheart," she called to Samira, "where do you keep the cast iron? Don't tell me he doesn't own cast iron. He has a private chef, Mom. A private chef." Patricia appeared in the doorway, hand to chest like I'd just confessed to devil worship. "A private chef who doesn't use cast iron. Lord have mercy. This was my life now. A Korean Mafia estate under invasion by Southern hospitality and military discipline. Mr. Kong, the younger brother, David, a cop, because my luck was that bad, leaned against the doorframe with a folder. Ran your background. Surprisingly clean for someone with 17 alleged murders. Alleged being the key word. He flipped through pages. Money laundering, racketeering, conspiracy, extortion. But nothing stuck. Almost like you have half the justice system in your pocket. David. Samira hissed. What? I'm making conversation. He grinned at me. Don't worry, I'm off duty. Mostly. The sister, Michelle, divorce attorney, shark in heels, was examining the house with appraising eyes. No prenup, I assume. We're not married, Samira said. Yet. But when you are, we're having a conversation about asset protection and spousal support clauses. She looked at me. How liquid are your holdings? I'm not discussing my finances with my girlfriend's sister. See, that's what guilty men say. I'd survived gang wars with less hostility. Minj appeared at my elbow, trying not to laugh. Boss, Mrs. Blackwell is asking if we have buttermilk. Do we have buttermilk? I don't know what buttermilk is. Find out. And Minj? I grabbed his arm as he turned to leave. If you abandon me with these people, you're demoted. Noted, sir. But I think the mother likes you. She's already measuring your kitchen for curtains. Dinner was a special kind of torture. Patricia had somehow commandeered my chef and was producing what she called a proper meal, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and something called funeral potatoes, which seemed ominous. So, Robert said, passing the gravy. You got my daughter stabbing people now. The table went silent. It was self-defense, Samira said quickly. Oh, baby girl, I'm not judging. He looked at me. I'm asking if he taught her to do it right. She has excellent instincts. But did you teach her proper technique? Center mass, don't hesitate, always have an exit. I stared at this retired Marine discussing murder like it was changing oil. Your father approves of you stabbing people. Honey, Patricia interjected, Robert approves of practical skills. He taught all our children to shoot by age 12. I'm a cop. David protested. And you're welcome, Robert said. Michelle raised her wine glass. I once pepper-sprayed an ex-boyfriend. Dad bought me a better brand. To be fair, Derek was a cheating snake, Patricia added. This family was insane. Completely, wonderfully insane. Mr. Kong, Robert set down his fork, fixed me with that combat veteran stare. I don't care that you're a criminal. I've known plenty of good men who colored outside the law. I care that you're putting my daughter in danger. Dad. Let him answer, Sammy. I met his eyes. Didn't lie, didn't deflect. Yes, sir. I am. Every day she's with me is a day she could die. I've tried to protect her, tried to keep her separate, but the truth is there's no safe place in my world. If she stays, she'll always be a target. And yet you want her to stay. I'm selfish enough to want it and honest enough to admit it's wrong. Samira's hand found mine under the table. Robert studied me for a long moment. Then, at least you're not lying to yourself about it. That's something. He resumed eating. But if she gets killed, I'm coming for you. And I don't care how many Yakuza you've got. Fair enough. Daddy, Samira said, that's not. Hush. The man understands me fine. Robert smiled slightly. Besides, any man who lets my daughter stab someone and doesn't try to lock her away afterward might actually respect her. I do. More than anything. Good. Pass the potatoes. Later, after Patricia had reorganized my entire kitchen and Robert had given Minj unsolicited advice on firearm maintenance, I found Samira on the balcony. Your family is terrifying, I said. I know. I'm sorry. Your father threatened to kill me. He threatens everyone. It's how he shows affection. Your mother measured my windows. She's planning curtains. You've been accepted. I pulled her close, breathing in bourbon and vanilla and home. The cop brother ran a background check at dinner. David does that to everyone. He ran one on my prom date. And your sister wants to discuss prenups for a wedding we haven't planned. Michelle's very practical. She looked up at me, smiling. So. What's the verdict? Can you handle the Blackwells? I thought about Patricia's fried chicken, Robert's gun-cleaning interrogation, David's casual investigation, and Michelle's financial inquisition. Your family is louder, more chaotic, and significantly more armed than any gang meeting I've attended. Is that a yes? That's a, your mother is making me install curtains and I'm too afraid to say no. She laughed, the sound bright and clear. Welcome to the family, baby. I've survived gang wars. But can you survive my mother's redecorating plans? Honestly? I'm not sure. Inside, I heard Patricia explaining to Minj the importance of proper window treatments, while Robert was teaching my security team card games. David was probably running background checks on my entire staff. Michelle had cornered my accountant. The Blackwell family invasion was complete. And somehow, impossibly, I didn't mind. Because they loved Samira the way I did, fiercely, protectively, without conditions. Even if it meant enduring funeral potatoes and curtain lectures. Your mom asked if we're getting married, I said. What did you tell her? That I'm working on it. Samira turned in my arms. Are you? I'm a criminal, baby. Not an idiot. I kissed her softly. Though I might wait until your father stops cleaning his gun in my presence. So never. Probably never. Coward. Practical. She kissed me again, and for a moment everything was perfect. Even with her entire family occupying my home like a very polite, very southern militia. Murayak. Patricia's voice carried from the kitchen. Do you have a meat thermometer? How do you cook anything without a meat thermometer? I sighed. I should. Surrender completely. Yes. Samira grinned. She's already won. Might as well accept it gracefully. This is what love looks like, isn't it? Complete domestic chaos. Welcome to normal, baby. Or as normal as we'll ever get. Normal. With a retired Marine, a Southern belle redecorating my mansion, a cop brother, a lawyer sister, and a girlfriend who'd recently stabbed someone. I'd take it. Even if it came with mandatory curtains. The Kwan estate sat behind 15-foot walls like a fortress pretending to be a garden. I studied the gates while Samira studied me, her jaw set in that particular way that meant I'd already lost the argument about her staying in the car. You don't have to do this, I said anyway. We've been over this. She checked the knife Jia had given her, a gift from my ex-wife, because my life had become that absurd. I'm not waiting in the car like some mobster's accessory. I felt my mouth twitch. Almost a smile. You're impossible. You knew that when you chose me. Fair point. The gates opened, and I accepted that I was bringing the woman I loved into the home of the man who wanted her dead. Kwan Sr. received us in a study that probably cost more than most people's houses. He looked exactly like what he was, old money, old power, and the father of the woman I'd divorced. His eyes lingered on Samira with an assessment that made me want to break his jaw. So, Kwan Sr. said, swirling whiskey in museum-quality crystal. This is the woman worth destroying an alliance over. Samira smiled with all her teeth. This is the woman who's tired of your assassination attempts. Sir. I tensed, but Kwan Sr. laughed, sharp and genuine. She has spine. I'll grant you that. He gestured to the chairs. Sit. Let's talk like civilized people before we go back to trying to kill each other. You first, Samira said, not moving. Explain why you're trying to kill me when you clearly don't actually want me dead. Kwan Sr. looked at me. Smart, too. You traded up. The threats, I said flatly. Explain them. Leverage. I wanted you desperate. Distracted. Making mistakes. He leaned back. But we have bigger problems now. The Kuroda clan and I have formed an alliance. Together, we're moving to take everything you have. The words hit like bullets. Why tell us? Samira asked. Because I'm offering you a way out. He slid a folder across the desk. Give me control of the port operations. All of them. I'll break the alliance with Kuroda. You'll survive another day. I didn't touch the folder. The ports are half my legitimate revenue. Yes. That's why it's a real offer. His expression turned cold. You gave up my daughter for this one. Choose again. The ports, or peace. You can't have both. I found Samira's hand under the desk. Squeezed. This was her choice too. Before either of us could answer, the door opened. Jia walked in like she owned the place, which, technically, she still did. She looked between us all, perfectly composed in Chanel and fresh contempt. Don't give him the ports, she said to me. Then to her father, and you, stop pretending this is about business. You just want him to hurt the way you think I hurt. Kwan Sr.'s mask cracked. Just slightly. This isn't your concern anymore, Jia. Everything about this family is my concern. She smiled, cold and sharp. I'm playing my own game now, father. And neither of you are going to like it. She turned and walked out, leaving chaos in her wake. Samira squeezed my hand back. Whatever came next, we'd face it together. Even if it meant war. I'd been to funerals more cheerful than Jia's wedding reception. She'd invited us anyway, sent the invitation with a handwritten note that said simply, "Come. I dare you." So here I was, watching my ex-wife marry a human rights lawyer named Daniel who had no idea the bride could kill a man 17 different ways with a dessert fork. "Stop glaring," Samira whispered, adjusting her dress. "You're the one who divorced her." "I'm not glaring." "You're absolutely glaring." She was right. I was glaring. Watching Jia pretend to be someone else, someone soft and normal, made my chest tight in ways I didn't want to examine. Daniel seemed nice. Boring, but nice. The kind of man who probably thought organized crime meant the homeowners association. "She looks happy," Samira said quietly. "She looks like she's lying." The reception was all white roses and string quartets, the kind of wedding that cost more than small countries. I felt out of place in my own skin. Samira kept her hand on my arm like she knew I was considering setting something on fire. Then Jia caught the bouquet mid-toss and threw it directly at Samira's face. Samira caught it on reflex. Jia smirked. "Practice for later." I was about to say something when I noticed the waiter. Wrong shoes. Wrong posture. Wrong everything. Samira. The first shot shattered the champagne fountain. Chaos erupted like someone had lit a match in a fireworks factory. Guests screamed, scattered. I had my gun out before Daniel finished processing what a gunshot sounded like. 4 men, no, 5, dressed as catering staff, all armed, all moving with the kind of precision that meant Kuroda. "Get down." I shoved Samira behind the cake table, scanning for exits, threats. Jia. Jia was already moving. My ex-wife hiked up her wedding dress, revealing a thigh holster because of course she came armed to her own wedding, and put a knife through the nearest assassin's throat without breaking her perfect makeup. "Daniel, stay down," she shouted at her new husband, who looked like his entire worldview was actively collapsing. I took down 2 attackers while Samira grabbed a champagne bottle and used it to break a third one's kneecap. Brutal. Effective. I was so proud I almost got shot. Jia appeared at my shoulder, breathing hard, mascara perfect. "North exit. 3 more. On it." We moved like we used to, synchronized, efficient, deadly. Samira kept pace, covering our backs with a guard's stolen gun. The 3 of us cleared the reception hall in under 4 minutes, leaving bodies and ruined centerpieces in our wake. When the gunfire stopped, the silence was deafening. Daniel stood frozen by the head table, staring at Jia like he'd never seen her before. Because he hadn't. Not really. "Daniel," Jia started, lowering her weapon. "What are you?" His voice cracked. "Who are you?" "I can explain. You just killed 3 people. At our wedding." He backed away. "I don't even know you. Please." But he was already gone, running out the door like the building was burning. Jia stood there in her blood-spattered Vera Wang, watching her normal life walk away. I'd never seen her cry. Not once during our entire marriage. But now her perfect composure cracked, and tears cut tracks through the gunpowder residue on her cheeks. Samira moved first, wrapping Jia in a hug. My ex-wife collapsed into it like a puppet with cut strings. I holstered my gun and called Minj for cleanup. Over Samira's shoulder, Jia's eyes met mine, raw and broken and furious. "I'm going to kill Kuroda," she said quietly. "I know. Will you help me?" I looked at Samira. She nodded. "Yes," I said. "We will." Jia showed up at our door at 3 in the morning, still wearing her wedding dress, carrying a duffel bag full of weapons and what I assumed was a very detailed murder plan. "We're going to war," she announced. "Who's driving?" Samira, to her credit, didn't even blink. Just poured 3 glasses of bourbon and said, "Let's see the plan." I'd seen Jia angry before. I'd seen her cold, calculating, ruthless. But I'd never seen her like this, grief and rage wrapped in white silk and steel. She spread blueprints across our dining table like she was planning a heist, not a massacre. Kuroda has 6 primary operations in Seoul, she said, pointing at marked locations. Warehouses here and here, a gambling den in Gangnam, shipping containers at the port, a nightclub front, and his personal office in Jongno. We hit them all. Tonight. That's ambitious, Samira said. That's war. Jia's smile could have frozen blood. I want him to wake up with nothing. Then I want him to not wake up at all. I studied the maps. We'll need Minj and at least 20 men. No. Jia cut me off. Just us 3. Anything more risks leaks. We move fast, hit hard, disappear. You want to dismantle an empire with 3 people? I asked. You have a better idea? I didn't. Honestly, it was insane enough to work. We started with the warehouses. Jia went in first, still in that damn wedding dress, and she was terrifying. Efficient. Every movement precise, no wasted energy, no hesitation. I'd forgotten how deadly she could be when unleashed. Samira handled the tactical side, calling shots, watching exits, keeping us 3 steps ahead of security. She'd learned fast, adapted faster. Watching her work alongside Jia was like watching 2 completely different fighting styles become one devastating force. The gambling den went up in flames. Literally. Samira's idea, poetic, she called it. At the shipping containers, we found Kuroda's drug operation. Jia photographed everything, sent it to every law enforcement agency in Korea, then burned the evidence. Let him explain that, she said. By dawn, we'd hit 5 locations. Kuroda's empire was crumbling in real time. My phone kept buzzing with reports, his men scattering, allies distancing, everything falling apart. The nightclub was the messiest. Guards, civilians, too many variables. But Jia moved through it like a ghost in white, and by the time the smoke cleared, Kuroda's front was finished. One more, Jia said, reloading. She wasn't even breathing hard. His office. He'll be there. We found him trying to escape through a back exit, expensive suit rumpled, perfect hair disheveled, looking nothing like the untouchable crime lord who'd crashed a wedding. Jia walked up to him slowly, heels clicking on concrete. You came to my wedding, she said pleasantly. How rude of me not to thank you properly. Jia, wait, he raised his hands. We can negotiate. I'm done negotiating. I won't describe what happened next. Some things are private, even in revenge. When it was over, Jia stood there, blood on her wedding dress, breathing hard. The Ice Queen had melted into something more dangerous, human, hurting, and completely unleashed. Samira touched her shoulder gently. It's done. Jia nodded, and for the first time in hours, her mask cracked. She looked at me, then at Samira, then back to the destruction we'd wrought together. Thank you, she whispered. Family helps family, Samira said simply. And somehow, impossibly, that's what we've become. We won. Kuroda was dead, his organization scattered to the wind, and the Kwan family had backed off once they realized Jia was playing a different game entirely. By any measure, we'd achieved total victory. So why did everything feel broken? I stood in what used to be my office, surveying the damage. Half my lieutenants were gone, dead, imprisoned, or smart enough to disappear. The ones who remained looked at me differently now, like they weren't sure who I'd become. Like I wasn't sure either. Samira's lounge had taken collateral damage during the war. Broken windows, scorched walls, her carefully curated dream reduced to renovation estimates and insurance claims. She stood in the wreckage, arms crossed, face unreadable. We can rebuild, I said. Can we? She wasn't talking about the lounge. Jia was the worst of all. She'd gotten her revenge, dismantled Kuroda piece by piece, and now sat alone in a penthouse apartment with nothing but ghosts and what-ifs. Daniel was gone. Her father wasn't speaking to her. Her chance at normal had died in a hail of gunfire at her own wedding. When she came over that afternoon, she looked smaller somehow. Less Ice Queen, more just, tired. "I'm leaving Seoul," she announced, pouring herself a drink from our bar like she still lived here. "Starting over. Somewhere no one knows my name." Samira looked up from the couch. "Where? Does it matter?" Jia shrugged. "Somewhere warm. Somewhere I can be nobody for a while." "You'll hate being nobody," I said. "Maybe." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "But I need to try." She turned to Samira, and something passed between them that I didn't quite understand, the kind of bond forged in blood and bourbon and impossibly complicated circumstances. "Take care of her," Jia said to me. "She's stronger than I was, but that doesn't mean she's unbreakable." "I know. Do you?" Jia's gaze sharpened. "Because I broke. And I was trained for this life. She chose it. That's different. Harder." Samira stood, walked over, and hugged Jia properly. My ex-wife stiffened, then melted into it. "Thank you," Samira whispered. "For everything. Don't thank me yet. You're stuck with him now." They both laughed, and I felt like an outsider in my own living room. After Jia left, Minj came by with news I'd been expecting. A rival family had offered him leadership, a real position, not second in command to someone else's kingdom. "Take it," I said before he could ask. "You sure? You've earned it. Build something better than what I built." He gripped my shoulder. "You could come with me. Fresh start." I looked at Samira, who was studying a job offer letter she'd been carrying around for days. High-paying position in New York. Safe. Normal. Everything she'd left behind. "I can't," I said to Minj. After he left, Samira held up the letter. "They want an answer by Friday." "What do you want?" I asked. "I don't know anymore." She set it down. "Tell me to take it." "No." "Tell me to stay." "No." "Murayak." "It has to be your choice," I said. "Not mine. Not ours. Yours." She looked at me for a long moment, then walked to the window. Outside, Seoul glittered like broken glass. "Ask me tomorrow," she finally said. "Okay." But I already knew her answer. The same way I knew mine. We'd chosen this. Each other. The mess, the danger, the impossible beautiful disaster of it all. And somehow, that was enough. I woke up to Samira stealing my coffee. "Make your own," I muttered, watching her perch on the kitchen counter in one of my shirts, looking entirely too pleased with herself. "Yours tastes better. It's the same coffee. It's the principle." She grinned. "Besides, you're up. You can make more." This was my life now. Domestic arguments about coffee. Samira's shoes scattered throughout the penthouse. Her terrible taste in morning television. The way she hummed off-key while doing paperwork. I'd restructured the organization over the past year, gone more legitimate, or at least legitimate adjacent. White-collar crime paid better and involved significantly less bloodshed. Most days. Postcard came, Samira said, sliding an envelope across the counter. Bali. Jia's handwriting, neat and precise as always. Met someone. A surf instructor, if you can believe it. He thinks I'm a corporate lawyer. Don't tell him otherwise. J. She sounds happy, Samira said. She sounds like she's lying again. Maybe. But this time she's lying to be happy instead of lying to survive. She tilted her head. That's growth. The lounge's grand reopening party was that evening. Samira had rebuilt it bigger, better, with actual security this time. It had become the most exclusive spot in Seoul, partly due to the cocktails, mostly due to the rumors about who owned it. Minj arrived early, now running his own family, looking more confident than I'd ever seen him. We'd become equals instead of boss and subordinate, which felt strange and right at the same time. Heard the Huang family tried moving in on your territory last week, he said, accepting bourbon. Tried being the operative word. Need help? Handled it. Samira appeared beside me, sleek in black, dangerous and beautiful. Negotiations concluded favorably. Minj laughed. I bet they did. The party was perfect. Samira worked the room like she was born to it, all charm and careful threat. My mother sent a care package, kimchi and subtle disapproval, her specialties. Samira's family sent a card with their mother's signature and a PS that said, "We're praying for both of you, you're going to need it." Later, after the guests left and the city settled into its nighttime rhythm, we stood on the lounge's balcony overlooking Seoul. Our city. Our beautiful, dangerous, impossible city. I'd been carrying the ring for 3 months, waiting for the right moment. But with Samira, there was no right moment. There was just now. "Marry me," I said. She didn't even turn around. No. No. Ask me again in 5 years. She glanced over her shoulder, smirking. If we're both still alive and not in prison, I'll say yes. That's your condition. Those are my terms. I considered this. Laughed. Deal. Deal. She turned, kissed me properly, tasting like champagne and possibility. But I'm keeping the ring anyway. That's not how proposals work. That's exactly how proposals work when you're proposing to me. Fair enough. A minor threat emerged the next week, nothing serious, some upstart gang thinking they could move on our territory. We handled it together, efficiently, like the well-oiled machine we'd become. Samira barely broke a nail. Later, in bed, she traced patterns on my chest. Happy? I asked. Terrified. Exhausted. Probably making terrible life choices. She smiled in the darkness. Completely happy. Same. We're disasters, you know. I know. This probably won't end well. Probably not. But until it does. Until it does, I agreed. And they lived messily, dangerously, and utterly happily ever after. Or at least until the next crisis. Whichever came first.